What if we were to use electronic sentencing systems and computer softwares instead of judges and juries in the United States judicial system for fairer, consistent, and sentencing guidelines? Currently, the sentencing is so bad for black people that we get huge discrepancies in the sentencing for the same crimes based on the color of our skin. The sentencings are so bad that in April 2018, the Sentencing Project submitted a report to the United Nations Rapporteur on contemporary forms of racism, racial discriminations, xenophobia, and related intolerances. Complaining about the United States for its discriminations. It read, "The United States criminal justice system is the largest in the world. At year end of 2015, over 6.7 million Americans were under some form of correctional control in the United States, including 2.2 million incarcerated in federal and state prisons. The U.S. is a world leader in its incarcerations. Such a broad statistic masks the disparities that pervades the United States criminal justice system, and for African Americans in particular. African Americans are more likely than whites to be arrested. Once arrested, they're more likely to be convicted. And once convicted, they're more likely to experience a lengthy prison systems for the same crimes. As of 2001, 1 of every 3 black boys born that year could expect to go to prison in their lifetime. The source of such disparities is deeper and more systemic than explicit racial discriminations. The United States, in effect, operates in 2 distinct criminal justice systems, one for wealthy white people and one for poorer and black people. The wealthy can access a vigorous adversary systems with constitutional protections for defendants. Yet, experience for minorities and black people defendants within the criminal justice system often differs substantially from that model due to a number of factors, each of which contributes to overrepresentation of such individuals in the system. As former Georgetown law professor David Cole states in his book, No Equal Justice, these double standards are not, of course, explicit. On the face of it, the criminal law is colorblind and class blind, but in a sense, the only makes the problem worse. In a sense, these only makes the problem worse. This rhetoric of the criminal justice system sends the message that our society carefully protects everyone's constitutional rights. But in practice, the rules assure that law enforcement prerogatives will generally prevail over the rights of minorities and the poor. By affording criminal suspects substantial constitutional rights in theory, the Supreme Court validates the result of the criminal justice system as fair. That formal fairness obscures the system's concern, the systemic concern that are to be raised by the fact that the prison population is overwhelmingly and disproportionately black. By creating and perpetuating policies that allow such racial disparities to exist in its criminal justice system, the United States is in violation of its obligation under Article 2 and Article 26 of the International Covenant on Civil and Political rights to ensure that all its residents, regardless of race, are treated equally under the law. As you see in the report, in this report I just read, black communities are not faring well in the court system due to racism and interference, including prosecutors bragging about having 100% conviction rates. As you see day in and day out, the judges are given different sentences to same circumstances for different skin color. I'm talking about vastly different sentences. As you will see in this picture, these boys committed the same crime, almost at the same age, consented to the same crime, had the same total points, and yet the white boy received 2 years in jail, while the black boy received 26 years in prison. By the way, you're like, judges must be very stupid. How could they come up with this so differs on this same thing? This is the same freaking judge in the same court by the same prosecutors giving out these sentences. If this was a software that's used in that room, do you think it would have given such a different sentencing guidelines? If you enter in a software, James committed this crime, this is the first time, guideline says do this, you think the software will say, shit, black man, give him 26 years, white man, give him 2 years? No, software wouldn't know the difference between white and black if it's written correctly, if race was taken out of the picture. So, the Chase and Lamar cases basically give us the thinking that judges are not fair, prosecutors are corrupt as fuck, juries are horrible, and humans cannot just be fair, period, especially when it comes to the United States. Therefore, I am advocating for the use of software system for the Justice Department. Look at this one. This is just last month. This guy Patrick, he sprayed bullets on his daughter's black boyfriend. He intended to kill this black guy who was dating his daughter because he was a member of KKK and he didn't like that. He wounded the guy, but luckily the guy did not die. The guy was charged, Patrick was charged with malicious wounding. And guess what? He was released. Not very easily. You know why? Because his bail was set for $500. $500 for spraying bullets on your black future son-in-law. On the other hand, you know, Bobby is sentenced to 241 years in prison for shooting at people. No one died. Bobby was sentenced to 241 years in prison for the same kind of circumstances that Patrick was accused of here. Brock Turner, you guys remember that guy, was sentenced to 6 months for raping a woman that was drunk. The judge said, we don't want to ruin this guy's life. And he was released 3 months later out of jail. While, on the other hand, Meek Mill, a big-time celebrity guy, was sentenced to up to 4 years in prison for violating a parole, while Brian spent 5 years in prison for false rape. So, you must be asking, the criminal justice system is bad, the white people or the judges are bad. But there was a study that said black judges, keeping in line with their master's orders, are sentencing black people more harshly than white judges. Same with the prosecutors. Just look at the case of our Senator Amy Klobuchar refused to prosecute police brutality and prosecuted minor crimes harshly of black people. I think she was keeping in line with her master's will. Did Tanya Miguel get 5 years in prison for sending her son to better school? I bet you. Tanya sent her son to a better school, and she was sent to prison for 5 years. Tanya is a black lady. And our actress, Felicity Huffman, got 14 days in jail for bribing officials to cheat on her daughter's SAT test. 14 days versus 5 years. Both of them were looking out for their daughter, for their children, right? One was cheating, one was basically trying to get a better education for her child. Judges and juries are too prejudiced to deliver a just sentence for black men, since it's in their best interest that we stay slave for them in prison or on the street. Therefore, I propose a computer decides our sentencing. We trust computers to do everything for us. We even allow computers to drive us 100 miles an hour. Why not let the computer decide these important and life-changing decisions for us?